When I was on a team in Special Forces, one of the biggest regrets I have is not taking care of my body, and in a large part, that was neglecting mobility. I went years just focusing on performance and ended up having many injuries because of that. And our head strength coach, Tyler Miller, has helped me overcome a lot of those and made some progress with my mobility overall. So today we're going over 6 mobility tests that every tactical athlete should pass.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So we're gonna go over the couch stretch. There's a couple of things that are gonna help us get passing scores. The first thing, if you're someone that has to peel your knee way out to the side and you have room, you're already somewhat failing at this drill. So knee should be flush, pushed up against the wall. You're gonna spin out, okay? You're trying to stack ankle right over knee. And from there, you're gonna work to bring your foot up. So that's the second homework. Can I get my foot to this position? Third piece is your hip extension. And can I contract my glute in order to do so? This is the position that we call the low position. From here, we can then come upright, keeping the rib cage down and still forcing extension through the glute. So I can still squeeze my butt muscle here and the ribs are still down. We don't want to look like this hyperextended position. We just want to stay down. And then eventually we should be able to try to get our back up against the wall at some point. So we just want to be able to get into this position, no matter how you look. Can I get that hip all the way extended?
So knee up against the wall, get in the high position. And for a long time training it, I had to live here.
Yeah.
Just working that glute.
Yep, and you were able to get into that extension here.
Yep.
Good. So now, your second bit of homework is, can you get into the low position with your hands on the ground and get that hip all the way extended? I would say you're there. You can achieve that. Perfect. So now you're coming up, the ribs are still down, you're in control.
1 for 1?
1 for 1.
Cool.
Okay, we're gonna now be testing thoracic extension globally through our body. We're gonna use the wall walkover as our test. So you're at a comfortable distance from the wall. You're gonna get yourself in a position that you can own with your hands up against the wall, feet flat into the ground, and when you're ready, you can start to descend and hold the position.
Let's test and see if my my extension is should or not.
We're gonna find John's hips. It doesn't have to be super exact. And then we're just gonna have a line where his hip line is.
So I should be able to get my hands underneath that while keeping my...
I would say to that line.
Okay.
If you can get to that line, you're possessing full extension through the whole spine. It's not like you're gonna just test this once and expect to wield a really good result. This is more like, I'm gonna take 2 to 3 to 4 attempts at this and then see what I've got afterwards.
Cool. Let's see it.
Okay. So right there, I would say we're gonna need to try it again. That was a good warm up, but I want your feet to be stationary.
Okay, so that was my next question is, a lot of times I'll get back on the wall and I'll kind of walk my feet out. I shouldn't do that?
Yeah, because you don't have enough extension mechanics through the spine, so you're finding it by...
So I'm making up for it.
Correct.
Got it, okay.
Yeah,
so I've been cheating.
I wouldn't say it. You've been trying to get as deep as you can, you know? So right there with your feet flat, I would say that you're inside like our bare minimum standard.
Okay.
So you're passing, but we have room for improvement.
When I went to free fall school, I was like waffling a lot and I couldn't get into that arch position where my hips led the way and I was flying through the air. Well, luckily I passed, but I wasn't the best flyer. And a large part of that, I believe, is just not accessing that extension or even able to get into that hips leading, that extended position that you need to be in for jumping. So guys that want to skydive, go to free fall school, this test is very crucial for you.
Okay, guys, we're gonna be testing some thoracic rotation. We're gonna do this with a half kneeling wall drill. It's easy. If you have a foam roller, that's a great additive. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the knee, I'd say a couple inches away from the wall. It's not gonna be touching. Position yourself so that your knee is clamping in against this roller. That way, it's making sure that you don't cheat the drill. We're keeping everything in line, stacking the joints. From here, I can get a little bit of lean, get my shoulder on the wall here. I'm gonna protract and retract simultaneously. And then from there, I can start my rotation. And I'm trying to get my fingertips to the wall. Went ahead and touched that for you. Take a deep breath, then rotate. I would say passing is getting this wrist in line with this shoulder here. So John is really close. I bet you if we did this for several reps, about 8 reps, he'd be passing in no time.
But I'm not passing now.
You're not passing right now. Yeah. Okay, guys, it's time to start testing the musculature of the upper body. We're gonna work some mobility demands of this anterior shoulder, the pec. We're gonna work some unison and body control of the scapula and the rotator cuffs. And we're gonna do a simple behind the neck press with a barbell. You can always start in a back squat position and then get your grip. You just wanna be in a place to where you have a nice 90 degrees of elbows. You're gonna keep your rib cage down, so you're not gonna extend. You're gonna press all the way up. You're gonna slowly control and bring it back down on your shoulders. He's a little cheating already, so let's get him inside just a little bit, just stacking. He's got his ribs down, he's in a good position. He's gonna press all the way up, and he's gonna come all the way down. That's excellent. That gives me some indication that his pecs are at a good length tension ratio. Usually when someone has a ton of tension in their pecs, they have that little bit of tilt forward, and then they start to grip like this, and they can't take a full grip. So by opening up the pecs, we can get into proper positions. And then also what helps aid in lengthening the pecs is just the ability to be strong on this upper back position. If you can contract the musculature really well of your upper back, it already sets you in a really good position to operate in what's considered, a high mobility demand for the shoulder.
That's a pass.
Pass. All right, we're on our 5th mobility test. And we're gonna be testing some mobility of the ankles, knees, and hips, and even some more thoracic extension. We're gonna get into the Cossack squat. We'll take a nice wide base, okay? Nothing too extreme. You wanna be outside the hips. From here, what we'd like you to do is start to apply pressure by bending the knee and sitting the hip back. You can bring your hands up as a counterbalance. Finding end range position. We want the knee to be above the hip. We want our chest up. We would like to see the big toe knuckle, small toe knuckle, and heel all into the ground while maintaining this position. And then we'll go over to the other side. Hit this position, staying in an upright manner. This backside foot can either spiral out or stay down on the ground. So right now, John is limited by this ankle, and that's why right now, he's close. I'd say if he gives it another rep or two, you're almost in the passing category of just trying to get that knee higher than this hip. You're about 180 degrees on both sides, but he's maintaining control of the position. In a perfect world, if his ankles had a little bit more mobility, he could drive that knee further and his chest would come up higher, and as a byproduct, he would break the parallel line. So think big chest up as you grind down there lower. Chest up, chest up, chest up. Unfortunately, you are not passing, but I'd say you're at like a 50%. We're pretty much testing everything from head to tail. Main joints obviously are the shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles. We're doing the overhead squat. Mobility restrictions will differentiate where this grip's gonna be, but also limb length dependencies are gonna change this grip. What I'd like for everyone as a standard to do is find the outermost ring of your barbell and start right on it. Most of you guys might have to go all the way out to the end, that's okay, but this is gonna be our limp fact for our standard. You could set up like you're back squatting and then take your pointer finger right outside those rings, but just keep your head in a nice neutral upright position. You're gonna work low and slow into this overhead squat. and you're gonna try to maintain the barbell's position over the shoulder. Some things to watch out for. Does the barbell forward fold as you go down? Do the toes spiral out of control as you descend? They're like the two big main pieces that we look for. Take your toes, stick them to 1 o'clock and 11. Yep, you're good. Not bad. Give it another rep. Give it another rep. You're good. Drive your knees out, drive your knees out, drive your knees out. Good. Little forward fold of the shoulders. Go one more time. You're there. You're close. Yep. 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 Excellent. And what happens, again, because of those ankles, he can't maintain that extension, so he breaks at the weakest point, which is the rotator cuffs. They can only be so strong in that position. So honestly, I've seen a lot worse. I bet you if we were to elevate your heels right now, you'd pass.
Durability is one of the biggest things we talk about all the time, going to Special Forces selection, performing as an operator, performing as a law enforcement officer. And by building this foundation of mobility and including it, doesn't mean you need to be perfect. You are improving your longevity and how long you can stay in that career field and leave healthy.
And just a caveat off of that, I always think about leaving untapped potential on the floor. Yes, he can do his job when he's on the X. He was a great GB, but if he was able to master these positions, how much stronger or how much resilient would he have been if he was working on those positions? When you open up your body and give you more access to those joints, it gives you more access to strength, more access to size, and of course, more access of getting in and out of really tricky situations on the job.
Yep. And our goal with this is to make sure that you guys who are going into these career fields and actively serving, have healthy careers, stay capable, and then leave your service ultimately still able to do things, spend time with your family, and do everything you want to do. So if you want to learn more about how we accomplish that, we have a link down below. We have different programs for law enforcement, for general performance, custom programming with all of the assessments associated with it as well. You can find that in the description below. Other than that, appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next one.